like everybody knows somebody that's had a baby or, they've had a baby, it lets everybody into that world. And not all of it is sunshine and flowers. Like a lot of it is really hard, and not just the birth part, but the becoming a mother, becoming a birthing person, a parent. And I had, dads relate to it. I had, for just friends that didn't have any children, it spoke to them because, their moms had babies or their friends or whoever. So it's a connecting piece, I think.
Welcome to the Dance Maker podcast, presented by Small Plates Choreography Festival. In this series, we engage in inspiring conversations with choreographers within the Small Plates network, whose work has been showcased in our performances. Small Plates Choreography Festival is a curated dance performance series dedicated to dance makers at all stages of their choreographic journeys. We curate and produce concert dance through an open application process, highlighting distinct, uncommon, and relevant short dance works and performances in several different cities each year. Our goal is to be a platform for dance makers to amplify their voices and their visibility, and to create a lively interface between artists and audiences that explores the creative process and the intent behind each dance. In this podcast, we will dive into conversations with talented choreographers of Small Plates, discussing what draws them to dance, their creative processes, and their artistic journeys. Hi, I'm Michele Painter. I'm a dance artist and choreographer with a passion for the transforming nature of dance. I hold a Master of Fine Arts degree from the University of Hawaii at Manoa. I'm a founding member of Haven Movement Company, and I'm also a curator, administrator, and assistant director for Small Plates Choreography Festival. As a dance artist, I enjoy creating spaces for powerful movement expression and thought-provoking choreography. To be a dance maker is to be a joy maker, a culture maker, and a meaning maker. So, join me as we discover how choreographic work comes to life through the eyes of the artists of Small Plates, and learn where you can engage further with them and with their performances. Hello and welcome to the Dance Makers podcast. Today we're here with Judy Kurjan-Frank, and she is a dancer, choreographer, and movement educator in the Hudson Valley region. And she has performed and taught all over the East Coast and in other places as far away as Uganda. She's danced for many choreographers and companies throughout her career, and she has a Bachelor of Arts in Dance from the University of Maryland, College Park, and a Master's of Arts in Dance Education from New York University. And she's a certified movement analyst and a yoga teacher. So welcome, Judy. We're really glad to have you. Judy performed her solo Birth Plan, Dear Child, in the 2024 season of Small Plates Choreography Festival in Newburgh, New York. So welcome.
I'm happy to be here.
So we wanted to just get to know you a little better. Of course, we saw your performance and wanted to know if you could talk a little bit about, how did you get into choreography? How did it all start?
Yeah, I didn't actually start really choreographing until I was in college. That's where I kind of learned how to do it. Before that, it was just all Cicchetti ballet. You learn it, you take the exam, and you move on to the next one and do whatever the teacher tells you. And it wasn't until I was in college that I started into modern dance. And so it was a whole process of unlearning and relearning. And it was there that I took my first choreography class. And it was really hard for me at first. I just I couldn't figure out how to share a message or a feeling through the dance. It was before that for me. It was all about just the shape and the look of it. And then after that, I started managing a studio back home, and I had to choreograph all of the dances. And I started just kind of listening to each dancer and kind of what they needed and trying to figure out how to let them shine the best. And so then by the time I got to grad school, I was deeper into finding meaning in my movement, and it just became more interesting and exciting for me to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I can totally relate to that because I have a similar kind of thing where it's just like hardcore ballet technique up until about college, and then I was introduced to my first movement improvisation class, and that kind of opened up this whole new world. You talked about like unlearning and learning. Can you talk a little more about that in terms of like how you got to like choreographing your first piece, like how you got to that point, you know, where you were able to like put something out there for other people to see?
A lot of the learning and unlearning was like technique based, like all of my ballet habits, like the popping of the ribs and the just the way you hold yourself. It was so hard for me to like soften into my own body. And I think once I was able to access that, that's when I was able to learn more about myself and what I wanted to say. We mostly did little choreographic projects like a short phrase here, a short phrase there. We did improv. And then I remember, I think it was probably my senior year, a friend and I got together and we just wanted to, she had a similar experience as me, and we wanted to just truly rebel from ballet. And so we did as much rolling on the floor as we could. And I cut her hair on stage. And, we just wanted to do everything that ballet was not. So that was the first piece. And then it just moved on from there.
Wow. That's a very liberating kind of experience.
Yeah.
Brings me into your piece that you did for Small Plates a little bit when you said you were like learning how you learned how to melt into your body, feel into your body more. Because the piece is really about the experience you had with the birth of your third child, right? We'll get into that a little more, but I saw like surrendering into the body very prevalent in your piece. I guess that brings me to that piece seemed like kind of a collaborative piece. You had the poetry and everything that you worked with. Is collaboration something that you do a lot in your creative process?
Yeah, I try to. I really, really enjoy working with others. Partially just because I have a hard time motivating myself. I get in a studio and I just kind of, well, I need to warm up a little bit more. Well, let me try this over here. And then it's hard for me to just really jump into the movement making. So when I have another person there, it just happens more naturally for me. But I really like the give and take, oh, that looks great. Let's add that here. Oh, what can we do here? And then just the moving bodies together. It's a lot more interesting to me most of the time than moving just by myself. I feel like you can do a lot more. Of course, this piece that I presented was a solo. The rest of that full work was collaborative. That's with two short pieces from a larger work with the poetry. It was called Mother Nature was the show, and so was the book of poetry by Claire Taylor. I just got a bunch of mom dancers together, and we read the poems, and everybody sort of gravitated towards one or two or three of them, and we all just made our own pieces. And some of them were solos, and some of them we all worked together on. But it was feedback from all of them making the whole show speak. And then also the poems were already written, so in that regard, it was just taking those words and letting them be delivered through our movement. But we did have her record, the author record her voice for us. We were very lucky to have her just come by and do that. She's a wonderful writer in Baltimore.
And your husband, Stephen, he did some of the audio as well, right?
Yes, he did everybody's audio. We're so lucky to have him. They just would say, "Oh, this is what we need," and he would make it, and it was always just right. And actually, for these two pieces, it was interesting because for Birth Plan, he and I worked side by side making that happen. And actually, the heartbeat on that piece is the recording of my belly when I was pregnant with my first child. So that's my first child's heartbeat
That's so
in the
cool.
piece. Yeah. But the second piece, Dear Child, it was actually somebody else's piece at first that they wanted. And so they spoke with Stephen and together they made the audio. And then it didn't work out for them to do it, but I still really felt strongly about it. So I made the piece to somebody else's interpretation of that poem and the audio. So that was tricky for me to feel like I had to make it work with what they had already started as opposed to starting from nothing and kind of creating it on my own. That was hard for me. Yeah.
So you kind of felt a little detached from it at first, and you kind of had to like navigate making it your own.
Yes. And the first rendition of it was very different from this performance. I went back into the studio and I when I shared the first video to audition, I said, I'm not super thrilled with this section. I want to rework it. And I spent a lot of time in the studio just trying to really feel it in my body. And there were things that stuck out. Like I realized I was, you're trying to get the expansiveness of this whole world of love and life changing feelings. And it's like you're trying to grasp it. And I was like, it has to be so big. But then I realized that the movements were, it was all, I was the universe in it. So it had to be within me. So it's not, I don't think it's finished yet. I think I'm going to work on that piece for a really long time. But it was a process of just slowly going deeper and I guess unlearning and relearning. And that's kind of my theme.
It's kind of like a life theme too, you know? It's like we learn and then we're conditioned by society and then we have to like unlearn things, and then as we get older we kind of soften a little bit because we've like unconditioned ourselves a little bit, you know, like
Absolutely.
as people age they kind of sometimes soften a little bit because they've kind of let go of a lot of like conditioning and stuff.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if this is like a motivation for you in all your work. The piece was like, it was about, obviously about your experience with giving birth, but as somebody that I've never given birth or been pregnant or anything, but I was still somehow like really able to relate to it on a deep level because it was actually about, it went even beyond like just giving birth, and it was like a greater kind of universal love, which could be for like self or others or anything really. And so there's that like bigger underlying theme. I feel like anybody could relate to, even if they had not given birth before, you know? So I was like really surprised actually, because like, you know, I read the program notes and stuff. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like be able to relate to this piece or not, you know? Then I was like, wow, like, no, I really like got into that and like really related to it. And so I thought that was a really cool thing about the piece. So those kind of universal themes of, you know, love, compassion, are just things that any human being can relate to. Is that something that you're kind of like interested in generally?
Yes, very interested in that. I think I'm interested in the process of like digging into yourself and like finding how you connect to other people, to the world around you, how you reconnect to yourself. And it ends up through those themes of love and compassion and community connection. So yeah, I guess that does always kind of come through.
Yeah. So it's like an emotionally driven creative process, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people, they really focus on form and different things like that, musicality, even more than the emotional stuff. And the piece still somehow has like emotion delivered, but yeah, in your work, especially the one I saw in Newburgh, it seemed like it was really like something from like deep within, you know?
I was watching the video and I was like, oh, I don't know if this even reads because I felt like it was so much about like the breath and these like very subtle movements that you might not even be able to see from a video, but it also was this feeling of like creating this energy. So, if you watch some of the other pieces, they're so beautiful and you see the lines and the shape and the formations and it's gorgeous and it reads. And like mine, it was almost like this is how I am feeling. I'm creating this feeling for me right now. And I'm aware that other people are there, but like they have to kind of come into my world. Like I'm not putting it out so much for them, but they've got to come into it. So I think it's a different experience seeing it and being just a few feet from me versus seeing it on a video.
Yeah, I mean, I had the privilege of seeing it live, and then, and there is, the energy exchange when you're live that you can actually feel in the room. And it did read, I mean, for me, it did anyway. And in the video, I mean, it also reads. I mean, before the podcast, I always watched the video just to like refresh my memory because the performance was like several months ago. Like, I watched it and then I was like, for some reason, and I don't usually do this, I was like, for some reason with this one, I want to like watch it without the volume on and see what happens, like how I see it. And it was really interesting because the movement still read for me like some of the emotions anyway that were coming through the poem and everything. So it is still read, and I wouldn't have necessarily said, "Oh, this is about birth," but like the emotion is still read. Yeah,
It's funny when you think about watching the piece without the audio. Claire's words about her birth and her marathon, it was a completely different experience from my births. So just to be able to like separate it's nice that it works separately and together, that like it still can create those feelings and the emotions.
where are you? Like you said, you will probably continue to work with this piece. You don't feel like it's finished. In your creative process, like currently, are there other themes you're working with? Are you like continuing to work with this theme more?
I'm not really doing anything new at the moment. I've got the 3 kids, so that sort of takes up all my time. But I'm really trying to get out to take class. So I'm going to be performing like with this studio in Kingston, somebody else's choreography, but she, has us all a part of the process, which is really fun. And I really want to bring back the Mother Nature work as a whole. I'm sort of kind of putting my thoughts out into the universe to see if I can make that happen and bring more people into it, because it really is better as a group, as a community based thing. I really enjoyed that process, and we only got to perform the whole thing once. And I'd really like to bring that back up here. I'm still kind of new in the area, so I'm sort of laying the groundwork. But that's kind of my intention, is to bring that back. And then I'm not sure what I want to work with next. We'll see what happens when I have a little space and time to myself when my last kid goes to school.
You could definitely reach a specific audience of like women that are in pregnancy or postpartum, with that work. And like I said, it's reachable to everybody, even people that, haven't been through the process of giving birth. Just that one piece. But I feel like it would really be special to like maybe some postpartum women or something like that.
The response that we had when we first performed it was just like everybody knows somebody that's had a baby, or they've had a baby. So it lets everybody into that world. And not all of it is sunshine and flowers. Like a lot of it is really hard, and not just the birth part, but the becoming a mother, becoming a birthing person, a parent. And I had, dads relate to it. I had, for just friends that didn't have any children, it spoke to them because, their moms had babies or their friends or whoever. So it's a connecting piece, I think.
Okay, well, should we take a look at it?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to look at the evening performance that we did in 2024 at Small Plates Newburgh. And so let's enjoy watching that.
Are you enjoying the Dance Maker podcast? Please share it on your social media channels. Like, subscribe, leave a review, do all the things to help us reach more dance makers, dance enthusiasts, and audiences. If you're interested in Small Plates Choreography Festival, there are many ways to get involved with our shows. You can apply to present work. You can support us by coming to one of our performances or watching a live stream. And you can also support us financially. Small Plates is fiscally sponsored by Fractured Atlas, and so your support is tax deductible. Please check our website, smallplatesdance.com, for open applications, links to purchase tickets, and to donate. Be sure to join our email list to receive notices about new podcast episodes, application deadline reminders, and announcements about new shows and events. See you at Small Plates.
All right, so how is that to watch for you?
I found myself holding my breath a lot while I was watching it because in birth plan, that really was the movement that I was doing on my ball in my bedroom while I was laboring with Lydia, my third child. And it was such a funny experience because, I'm there, I'm in labor, and I just remember it was like I was also sort of beside myself thinking like, oh, remember this movement, that like, keep this in there somewhere. So it was like being totally present and then also having this little voice reminding me, remember this movement. And so seeing it always, I'm holding my breath, remembering the sensations that were there because you have to recreate that movement without that deep sensation in your body that's causing those movements. I felt like, dear child, it's definitely on its way. Like that performance was definitely more what I was going for. The labor and the birth is just such a small part of it. There's all of the stuff before, and then there's everything after, which is your life forever. And just being able to go back and revisit that very special, small, or not small, but short time. It's very special for me, and I'm really glad that I somehow was able to make that while I was very postpartum.
Making that while you were postpartum, did it feel like a healing kind of process for you, or was it like just difficult to get up and do it?
I think I needed it to sort of come back to me, like who I am, like not just this person who's pregnant, not just mama, but me, and like I am a mover and I'm a creator. So I think I needed that, and that sort of fueled it. And I think eventually it did become a very healing experience. The idea for the work as a whole is a funny story. I don't know if it's funny, but we were home from the hospital after I gave birth to Lydia. She was barely born in the hospital. All of that labor movement really worked. She was almost born in the car. We were home for like a week, and then we all got COVID. And so the household got split up, and it's 4 a.m. and I'm in my room bouncing with this baby, like hoping she doesn't get sick, hoping that I don't get too bad, and delirious, so Claire's words, delirious, it really rings true. and I'm bouncing my baby, and somehow in my mind I imagined all of the other parents who were bouncing their babies in their own particular way, like for their body and for their baby's body, like how that relationship happened. And I imagined it all happening at once. This was my sort of delirium, and it was all happening at once. And I knew that I needed to make that movement. So one of the pieces in the work as a whole does have that. And then it was very organic for me to go right back to birth plan. I knew I needed to bring that movement in. I was like, I remembered this for a reason. Like I need to make this. And Claire's words just were so perfect for it. And then I was like, oh, but these poems are perfect too. And oh, we need to do this, but I can't do all of it. And that's when I started gathering my people. And the birth community in Baltimore is incredible. So there's so many people that you can connect to and talk to and bring together for something like this.
Yeah, wow, that's intense. I didn't realize it was like that, the timing was like around COVID like that. And
it wasn't during like the scariest part of it. That was my second child who was born during that. But I didn't get COVID until baby number 3. And it was, of course, when she was brand new and I'm still recovering. And it was a lot.
When you talk about like coming back to the piece to kind of like help find yourself again, as an individual, not connected to the child growing inside of you. I got that from the ball in the piece. It kind of represented, and you can speak to this, but for me, I saw it as a representation of this other life force, like connected to you. At some point in the piece, kind of separate a little bit from it, and there's still a strong connection to it. But yeah, I saw that kind of like connection and then like separation physically. So that's kind of how it read for me. What was the ball?
The ball can be anything to anyone. But for me, it definitely obviously was the pregnant belly as I walked in. And then it was the actual ball for labor. But then it did represent, I don't know if it was the baby or like a part of me that sort of is just like, you're okay right here, but there's something bigger happening and something happening with me, and I'm going to keep you right here and close to me, but like I need to explore this and what is my experience with this? And then it all kind of comes back together, and then I can scoop up and move forward. And I don't know if it's scooping up part of me or scooping up the baby, but for me, carrying in the ball and sort of trudging and having it held a little bit lower felt really different than being able to stand a little more upright and carry it higher. And so, yeah, it's a little ambiguous, but I think we're on the same page about it.
And then the purple, I was wondering what you had to say. Was there a significance to because the costume was purple, the ball was like a lavender. Was there a significance to the color, or was it just...
No, the ball was purple, and I happen to have this purple dress, and I thought I tried a few different things, and my group said that this was the right combination. So that's what I went with, yeah.
It worked for like the tone of everything, and yeah, I was just curious to see if there's like some kind of deeper meaning. Sometimes there is, but...
No, not for this one.
I think when she says in the poem, maybe one day you will ask me how it feels to fall in love, and I will tell you about the day we met. That was a really beautiful moment. And I think that is kind of the moment you separated from the ball. It kind of like took on a like more universal picture, for me anyway, of like universal love. And of course, that's embodied in the mother-child relationship.
You have to know your own deep feelings about it and know yourself. So, like, I think separating from the ball in that moment was key in me saying, like, this is for me. But, like, wow, what a big concept. You're a child asking you, whether they're your child or not, but, what is love? What does it feel like? I mean, it's everything. So like, how do you even explain it? And I wonder if that's why it was so hard for me to, it's like, you can't find the words. It's like hard to find the movements too. Like how do you convey love? It's just so big. I hope I can, convey that to my children. They're out playing over there. That's what I'm like.
I think it just happens over a lifetime, it's not one moment. I was wondering if any of your children had asked you that yet. I know they're still all like kind of young, but sometimes the young ones ask the most profound questions,
No, they haven't asked that specifically, but they really like saying the words. Like it's meaningful for them to say, I love my mommy, or I love my daddy, I love my whichever sibling they're talking about. And they know like the feeling in their body comes from being like held and cozy and curling up, and they feel it, but they haven't asked specifically.
I'm sure like if they go back and watch the videos of these pieces, it would be quite profound for them actually.
I hope so. Well, with Lydia, I'll be able to say that was our dance. Like that was you and me, our final dance as one. And then you were your own person.
Well, it's been great talking about this.
Yeah, thank you so much. This has been really fun to dive deeper into it.
If people want to like connect with you or find you, do you have like website, social media?
Oh my gosh, I don't. I actually, I don't have a website. I do have an Instagram, but it is private. So, somebody wants to connect, send me a message, because otherwise I might not follow. I sort of jumped off of social media recently. I've tried to cut back. So I give myself like 10 minutes a day.
JUDESCHMOODS.
Yes.
So, Instagram. Well, it's been really great, and I look forward to, I hope to see the whole, evening length show one day.
Our intention was to release the video of it, but then we moved and it just hasn't happened yet.
Whenever that happens, yeah, definitely like at least post it on your social media so people that are following will like know it's happening. And yeah, is there anything else you wanted to talk about or add? Or
I just want to shout out Claire Taylor again, the poet. She's amazing. She sells her book of Mother Nature poems as well as other books of short stories. So Claire Taylor is her name, and I recommend reading more of her stuff.
And she's probably on Instagram as well.
She's on Instagram as well, and I believe she has a Substack maybe for her children's literature magazine that she writes. So I can send that all to you.
All right. Well, it's been lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Michele.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Dance Maker podcast, sponsored by Small Plates Choreography Festival. Be sure to support this podcast by liking, subscribing, and sharing with a friend or on your social media channels, or by leaving us a review. That really helps us expand our reach. To learn more about Small Plates Choreography Festival, please visit our website, www.smallplatesdance.com, where you can apply to be one of our performances. Be sure to also sign up for our newsletter and be the first to hear about new shows, get reminders about application deadlines, and of course, we will also let you know each time a new podcast episode drops. We rely on your financial support. If you would like to support Small Plates with a tax-deductible donation, please donate through our fiscal sponsor, Fractured Atlas. The link to donate can be found on our website and in the show notes for this podcast. Until next time, fellow dance makers, happy creating.